What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, Dillian Whyte, and Manuel Charr. Get this. Bob Arum states that the 37-year-old WBA champion in recess, Manuel Charr, will be a suitable replacement opponent for Fury if Whyte is still in negotiations with his legal case against the World Boxing Council. In terms of the U.S. apparel, Charr is no different than the 32-year-old Whyte, which is 28, 2, and 19 now, as neither of them is a household name, and Fury would be expected to do all the heavy lifting to attract eyeballs to fight involving either of these two. Last May, Charr returned to the ring after a 4-year hiatus to halt the capable Christopher Lovejoy by a second-round knockout. If Fury faces Charr, or the Nordic Nightmare, as we already know, it might cost him his WBC title, but that's a small price to pay for getting back in the ring. Fury will lose money if he sits inactive for the remainder of 2022, waiting on Whyte's legal case with the WBC to conclude, and Arum will not allow that to happen. It might be better for Fury to vacate his WBC title and use his Lineal and Ring Magazine heavyweight titles to put on the line against Charr or Hellenius. What's essential is Fury gets back into the ring and stays sharp and ready to face the winner of Joshua versus Usyk 2 rematch. Let me stop there, guys. First of all, according to Bob Arum has got his marquee value rankings all jacked up, okay? And I'm going to say this because he's putting Manuel Charr, a guy that's been inactive for 4 years up until last year, on the equivalent level or playing field as Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte, which has made millions of dollars, okay, per fight, except for the rematch, and he had to submit to that because he wanted to fight to get his right and get his everything back tight. Bars. He had to fight Povetkin to get his get back. Okay, we all know that. So that's the 300,000. Now, Otto Vailene is a different story. I don't know how much that fight purse would have been. It didn't happen anyway, so you know it is what it is. But for Bob Arum saying, hey, well, they're on the same playing field and Tyson Fury has to do it all himself. He apparently has to get out of the sport of boxing. He's getting too old. He's had his legendary reign as promoter since the 60s. But this isn't the 60s. No, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the second 2000. This is the third decade into 2000, okay? And things have changed. People have changed, okay? Popularity has changed. Dillian Whyte has always been a household name. If he doesn't know that, he's not a good promoter at all, or he just needs to step down. You know, he can become like a chairman or something like that, something like Barry does over there at Matchroom, right? Take that type of role. Let one of his relatives or his daughter or something like that, you know, run it, because him saying that Manuel Charr and Dillian Whyte are on the same level, dude, what kind of crack is he smoking? Like Hat Man Strikes Back, right? Because he has to be. You know, that's not weed he's smoking. Thinking that's just crazy. And in the UK especially, you thinking Manuel Charr will sell like Dillian Whyte? You think Dillian Whyte can't help Tyson Fury sell an event, and Tyson Fury ain't fought in the UK since when? 6 years? That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Either he's playing like he doesn't know or respects or not aware of Dillian Whyte's marquee value and what he really poses to the UK fans, or he's just really trying to say that in order to justify a duck from Dillian Whyte because they don't want to negotiate like they should, okay? You know, maybe it's a bluff. Hopefully it's a bluff, you know, saying, oh, we can get Manuel Charr. He's just the same. He's no different than Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's a bum, you know. And for the record, Bob Arum is supposed to say that Dillian Whyte's a bum just to justify not paying him what he's asking for, okay? Because we know Bob Arum's cheap, too. So it's a lot of factors involved. You know, he's cheap, therefore he needs to step down because he's not paying people enough money. He doesn't know the marquee value of his rival promoters and what they sell. And for that reason, he needs to step down. Right? But he has done this a long time, and he clearly doesn't respect the rivals fighters, the rival promoters fighters, which is Eddie Hearn, right, with Matchroom, you know, and he seldomly has good things to say about Eddie Hearn. So why would he say that about his fighters? Okay, so I'm putting everything in perspective, but you know, him giving up that WBC belt, what it tells me is they're willing to give up the strap. It's not really important to Tyson Fury, and they just want Tyson Fury to have a good tune-up. Because if he ends up fighting, especially Manuel Charr, I'd rather him fight Hellenius than Manuel Charr, because Manuel Charr is an inactive fighter, for one. He's been beaten by all the elite guys, for two. And him fighting Tyson Fury would just give him a mediocre payday, but it will do nothing for Tyson Fury except go back into hiding and do the thing he's always done. He might get to the top of the mountain, but he's not climbing any farther or any other mountains no time soon. Okay, so he likes to take on smaller fighters. If you look at the trend from 18, Safari, Pianetta, Wilder. Schwartz, Otto Wallin, Wilder. Forced to fight Wilder again. Now I'm back on smaller opponents. See, those things have to stop, okay? They have to stop, because in order for them to remain, for him to remain and to stop his trend, he has to fight someone that's about anything. You can't just fight with Klitschko, then fight Wilder and do that 3 times and say, hey, I'm the best fighter in the world. Tyson Fury is going to have to do something to break the bullshit that he's been doing. If he fights Manuel Charr, boxing will not change. It will be really no different than when Wilder did it, because when Wilder did the same thing, the only difference was he tried to use Tyson Fury and tried to use that and fight him to get the victory, to prove that he's the best or whatever. Okay, but it backfired on him with Tyson Fury. But it doesn't do boxing any good if Tyson Fury does the same exact thing. Okay, so I hope this wraps up quick. You could say it's up to Dillian Whyte. If I'm Dillian Whyte, I'm like Spencer. The knowledge, call the bluff, take the money. But I think it all comes down to the purse bid, so we just have to wait and see. You guys tell me what you think of Bob Arum stating that Manuel Charr could replace Dillian Whyte to fight Tyson Fury. Please subscribe, and you guys been counterpunching. Peace.